Hey everybody, my name is Corey Capella. I wanted to give you guys just a quick update on how my life has been impacted since first doing Iboga and actually just recently coming back from my second ceremony, well, I guess journey down there. Let me first explain to you guys, one thing I kind of noticed with some of the other testimonials is you're looking at people that have just gone through one of the most life-changing experiences and after going through life previous to it. So you might see a little bit different of an energy coming from me than from those guys. And that's why I really wanted to share this with you, is because you're only seeing people maybe like 2 weeks after their first ceremony, a month after their first ceremony, people that are still integrating and incubating a lot of what they might have taken away. But my first experience honestly was 2.5 years ago that I went down to Iboga Wellness Center. And like I just told you guys, I actually just went back there again for my second journey, for my second one, 2.5 weeks ago. Now, let me give you guys a rundown, because the person you're looking at today is not the person that was looking into this camera 2.5, 3 years ago. I have an extensive history with trauma. I was born and raised to a family of just very toxic individuals that had gnarly codependent relationships, guilt, shame, fear, very controlling, very abusive. It's what caused me to join the military when I turned 18, 19 years old, just to get away. Now, during that time frame was obviously when we were invading Iraq. So I joined the Marine Corps, ended up going over to Iraq and Afghanistan, doing all sorts of stuff, obviously on the front lines of combat. I watched my good friend get blown up right in front of me, and then as I was trying to rescue him and move him to safety, another gentleman in front of me stepped on another IED, literally 15 feet in front of me, and I got blown up. Probably had resulting TBI from that. I got blown into a wall. Obviously, was never tested for that because the military didn't really do much of that during that time frame. Came back after 9 years of military service, decided to get out just because I was insanely tired, and I just didn't really see it developing the direction that I wanted it to go. I wanted something greater for myself. So I got out of the military, I opened up my own business, I opened a CrossFit gym, and I just sunk myself into that, even though I was already diagnosed with PTSD. Obviously, the thing that they did though was they threw me on the antidepressants, and that's what was holding me down for a little while. But I got to be honest with you, I was taking such a small dose, but I could still feel the effects, and the effects that I felt was almost like a lot of people talk about a zombie feeling. That's how I felt. I felt like my soul almost was like suctioned out of my body. And I had an epiphany one day. As strange as this sounds, I felt like, this sounds insane. I was like, what would happen? What would happen if like the world were to like not end tomorrow, but like civilization as it were to like just stop, and I couldn't get these medications? Like, what would I be like? And then it started to like take my mind down this road of like, man, maybe I don't have to be on these for the rest of my life. Maybe I can become whole again. And I ended up using cannabis in order for me to start weaning off of the psychotropic medications they had me on. And I had a lot of growth and development come from the cannabis. However, I also got launched into a pretty gnarly dependency on that as well, because I was disassociating constantly, completely. That's what I was using it for. And soon enough, working 80, 90 hours a week, my dependency on cannabis at this point in time, just unhappy relationships, and of course the PTSD, all this stuff came to surface. And I ended up collapsing. I ended up becoming homeless, closing down my business. From that point, I actually went down to the Peruvian Amazon, and I actually worked with shamans deep in the Amazon and participated in ayahuasca ceremonies and some cleansing ceremonies. Even then, after that, and don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to knock ayahuasca whatsoever. Ayahuasca was a very, very different experience than what Iboga has to offer. It showed me the expanse of the universe. It showed me the expanse of my soul. It showed me all sorts of craziness. But I didn't really get a lot of answers from it. I just got more of a like expanded consciousness, I guess, to understand, that this reality just isn't it. So I came back, like I said, homeless, and I had to kind of rebuild from that point on, and it took some time. And as I was rebuilding, I started going to school, using the GI Bill to get a roof over my head again, studying philosophy because that's actually, tying into what I'm trying to do in life now, where I'm trying to show people that they can heal from their traumas, get into public speaking. I just wrote a book recently. We'll get into that later. Now, what brought me to Iboga? I was living in a nonprofit. They were housing me. I was going to school, and I was still having episodes of depression and anxiety. And, I was at this point in life where I was just like, man, what the heck? Like, no matter what I try, no matter what I'm doing, I'm meditating daily, I'm going through all this other stuff. Why do I still have the peaks and the lulls of this depression, anxiety kind of matrix that's going on? And, just like with ayahuasca, I heard about it from Joe Rogan, Aubrey Marcus, and I remember hearing back to Aubrey talking about Iboga and it being one of the most extensive journeys that he's ever done. And that was really the only time I had heard about it. And then how, it changes neural pathways for addiction. And I'm wondering if maybe, I have these things inside me still that need to be like cleansed and removed, and I need to fix some stuff. So I looked up Iboga Wellness Center. I just looked up Iboga, and then I found Iboga Wellness Center. And I do believe I remember hearing Aubrey talk about going to Iboga Wellness Center, so now I know it was kind of tried, true, and tested. I ended up going down. I ended up just pulling the trigger and saying, screw it, this is what I need. I raised up the funds to go down there, got down there within 2 or 3 weeks, and then flew down to Costa Rica. Now, at that point in time, I was probably about 30, 40 pounds heavier than I am now. I felt like my hair was like falling out and all this other stuff. And I'm not promising any miracle cures here, but I just looked terrible. I was just pasty and depressed and just at my lowest. Wasn't sure, I was like, this is last ditch effort kind of deal in order to get over my depression and anxiety. And I went down there like with the intention of like, I need this to work. Like, this is the last medicine I'm going to do. I don't know if I could do another journey. I don't know if I could keep throwing myself at all this other stuff. Like, the holistic thing is really killing me right now. And I went down there, with the intention. I was really scared, obviously. I've had some pretty gnarly experiences with entheogenic medicine and hallucinations and all sorts of other stuff before. So I was like really, really, really worried. And I got down to Costa Rica, and I never felt more welcomed. The house, the setup is set up ideally for what you're going to experience. Most people would probably want it to be a little bit more like jungly or whatever. Trust me, when like the place that you're going to is set up exactly for the energy of this medicine. And it's, I'll get into it a little bit further here, but I was just like, man, this is awesome, right? We're kind of in our own little ranch. Costa Rica is this just super relaxing place. And I get down there, obviously with the intention, I'm worried, and I'm just being like kind of put at ease the entire time. Gary, Levi, I think that's at my first time. That's all who was there really. They have a pool there that I literally just would like go and soak in the entire day. We could sit under some huts. You can walk around. You can do certain things. And, I go into the first ceremony and I'm just like, oh my goodness, like scared out of my mind. What am I going to see? What am I going to experience? And for me personally, the medicine is a lot gentler than any other medicine that I've done, whether it be like, whether it be ayahuasca, whether it be mushrooms, whether it be LSD, or whether it be, I know some people that are doing ketamine exposure therapy now, and MDMA and stuff like that. This by far was the most different form, and I don't even know if I could really call it hallucinating. And what I've learned from this medicine is that it just rings true. It kind of just like goes to the center of your soul, and you just go internal. And that first go around, like I said, I got to like kind of meet my soul again. I got to cleanse some of the things that were kind of going on. They all get called up from your subconscious and then into your conscious so that it can go out. I got to see, my friend who passed away in Afghanistan. I got to see him in the afterlife or whatever, and communicate to him in a way, and have him say to me, everything's cool, everything's all right, like what you did over there was perfectly fine, right? Like, and then I could go into all sorts of stories about that, but that was just insanely healing for me to kind of get over the grief of that and like the survivor's guilt that I might have held on to. I came back. Now, the big thing is those ceremonies, that's just the beginning. After coming back from Iboga Wellness Center, and I mean, the cool part about going to Iboga Wellness Center and using Iboga is you don't have to do like a diet or anything like that. The entire time, you get 3 square meals a day. You have access to the kitchen whenever you want. The food is absolutely amazing. You're taken care of 24/7. You get your own rooms if you pay for your own rooms, obviously, with air conditioning in your and a bathroom, right? You can go in the pool whenever you want. 2 of the days we go to the beach. One day we go and we do like a spiritual shower, which is awesome. And like I said, the entire journey itself was really introspective, and that's what you're going to want to go down there knowing is how introspective it is. Now, since I came back from that one 2.5 years ago, my life has only skyrocketed in the direction of my mental cognition and clarity has gotten better. My discipline for all sorts of things have gotten better. I'm no longer full of anxiety and depression. I've meditated daily every single day since then. I've just had tremendous growth in my relationships. I've been able to cut out any toxic relationship. I've honed and fine-tuned my personal relationship. I've been able to identify further what my dreams are, what I truly want for my life, and be okay with being that way. I've written a book. I'm trying to become a motivational speaker. I'm working through that. I've gotten a degree, and you guys can probably see behind me. And I'm working towards another degree, my upper levels. I'm doing so much in life right now. It's ridiculous. So what caused me to want to go back the second time? Well, I saw how amazing and impactful it was. I saw that even like after going through that experience, I saw how it continued to work inside me over and over, how it shifted. It was like a software upgrade. It was like I updated all my algorithms or whatever you want to call it to just be a better version of myself. And I said, I'm trying to become successful in so many different areas. Maybe I have some other blocks still. Maybe I need to go and cleanse those out. And I know, tried and true, that last time I went and did Iboga, it helped me out. So this go around, I was like, let's go and do this. Let's try it out. I went down there. Obviously I was nervous again. I'm like, oh, what if it's not as good as, what if it's not as gentle as before? What if I've been messing up a little bit over the last 2.5 years? And you know what? It was just one of those things where I went into it and I was like, all right, I'm going to throw myself at it. And, I did obviously go down there with the intention, like, hey, please be gentle. I've learned a lot of hard lessons in my life. I'd like to maybe start learning lessons a little bit easier right now. And, the medicine listened, and I had another amazing experience where I really got to cleanse a lot of the guilt and the shame still locked into my body from my upbringing. I got to work through my fear around success. In the 2 weeks that I've been back, I quit my job. I know that probably sounds scary to most people, but I already got what I needed from it. So it was like, all right, let's move on. And it's given me as weird as it sounded, it didn't give it to me. It just opened up and allowed me to create the space for me to say, all right, now is the time for me to grow in the direction I want to go to. I've got my real estate license in the 2 weeks since then. I've started numerous projects that are going to help me market and grow and do XYZ, right? I just applied for a TED Talk where I'm going to talk about my growth my growth from hitting rock bottom to here, right? To growing to this point where I can literally stand in front of a group of people and say, hey, listen, I've healed PTSD. I can show you guys how as well, if you're willing and if you want to put in the work, right? So it's only been 2 weeks. And I have a whole entire story from 2.5 years ago, how I've grown exponentially from that time frame. I can't imagine what my growth is going to be from this point to, I'm not going to lie to you when I say I hope not to go back down there, but who knows? It's such a tremendous, powerful medicine, and the people that facilitate it are the real deal. So if you're on the edge, if you're on the cusp, if you're scared, that's good. That's really, really good. There's a lot of unknown, but do it, right? You're not going to grow by saying no. You're only going to grow by saying yes. And I can practically guarantee you, I can't guarantee anything, but I can practically guarantee you that I haven't met any person who's done this stuff that has said, man, this has caused a detriment in my life. Sure, are you going to go through some uncomfortable things that it's going to cause you to grow? Absolutely. But is it for the best? And it probably is. So if you're looking at doing Iboga, if you're looking at going through Iboga Wellness Center, I put my seal of approval on it. I highly recommend you do it. It's to the point now when I do get into conversations with people, I look at them, I'm like, you need to do Iboga, and you need to go down to Iboga Wellness Center, and they probably get pissed off at me because that's always the answer. But I don't know anything on the planet thus far, that has been able to produce such exponential results in such short amount of time than what I've gone through. And one thing I do want to forewarn is this isn't something you're going to go down. It's not a party drug. This is not something where you're going to go down and be like, woohoo, let's try this out kind of thing. This is not something you go down to do either, where it's like, hey, give me. Well, in a way, I think you can be, but you're also giving as well. I gave up my guilt and shame. I gave up my fear of what other people thought of me. I gave up all these negative things that I was holding on to, and I was able to receive better things, because the real goal with this stuff, and really what it does, is it just taps you deeper and deeper into your higher self, and it helps you just kind of chip away at the things that are holding you back from being your best self. So with that said, if you guys want to hear a little bit about the philosophy I've developed over that time frame, I got to do a little shameless plug here. I recently wrote a book. It's called Live Your Best Life in 30 Days. It's an ebook on Amazon. Please do that. And like I said, please do consider deeply and honestly going down and using Iboga Wellness Center as your means to commune with this amazing medicine. They're tried, true, tested. I can attest to how honest they are. They do such a tremendous job with you. They take great care of you. And I know there's people out there that are like, oh, I can do it on my own or whatever. I can go to Mexico and do it cheaper. You get what you give. You get what you give. All right. So don't skimp out on something like this. Don't try to go the cheap way. Don't try to go a direction where it's like it might be easier for you. Go down to Costa Rica. It's a beautiful spot for this to happen. The energy is perfect there. And go through Iboga Wellness Center. I highly recommend them. So, like I said, you guys have my name, Corey Capella. If you have any questions, you could probably look me up, find me on Twitter or Instagram, shoot me a message or whatnot, and I'd be happy to answer any questions as well. But if you have any questions on Iboga, please contact Levi, please contact Peter, and go through their channels. Take care.